They were talking about some of the world's greatest people in their craft, and they were saying that they have to essentially have two characteristics. Number one, they have to have a clear vision of what excellence looks like. And trait number two was you have to have the skill set in order to execute on that taste.
Mm-hmm.
AI is actually taking the second one off the table. Welcome back to the SALT podcast. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm super energized about today's conversation.
It's a hot topic.
It's a hot topic. We've been brewing this one up for a little bit. But for those of you who are brand new, I'm Luke. This is Katelyn, and we're just so glad you joined us. We are a community of creatives, technicians, artists, dreamers, wanderers, storytellers, and worship leaders who just want to come alongside you. And we want to help you do your creative craft better. And we do that in a variety of different ways, interviews, conversations. And today we're going to have kind of a hot topic. We are talking about AI.
A very hot topic, a very confusing topic for some people.
Yeah.
There's so much AI out there, and how do you use it?
Someone's like, how is this hot?
Yeah.
Everything is AI. Hot would be not AI.
This is old news already, but it's not, because there's always something new on the topic.
Yeah. So before we dive in, if you're just now joining us, make sure you check this out on YouTube. We have this beautiful set that you will have no clue what it looks like if you're in your car. And I've now made a joke about being in your car and not watching the YouTube thing probably like 4 or 5 episodes in a row. So there's a trend. Maybe we'll have to keep going.
Please don't watch it while driving.
Yeah, that's good.
PSA.
Nice
Don't watch
PSA.
videos while driving.
That should be the opening line. Don't watch this while driving. But subscribe. Join us. We'd love for you guys to not miss a single one. But yeah, where do we want to start?
I want to start with Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. There's also a few what I would call celebrities. Maybe they're not celebrities so much as famous people that you have been mentioning. Conversations
In
about
every
AI
podcast
that they,
episode.
well, yeah, that too. But AI in the past, 10 years ago, AI was already being talked about.
Yeah.
Even though we, maybe the common folk, weren't as heavy thinking about it, had it on our radar, weren't using it day in, day out like a lot of us are now. But you know some stories, and you've been listening to some podcasts of when this kind of started, where it's going, how successful people are using AI right now.
Yeah, I did. I don't remember the exact stat. Maybe we can find this and put this in the notes. But I did hear that like 73% of Americans have used AI in some way, shape, or form, but only like sub 20%, I think, are using it on a regular basis, on a daily basis.
Which is insane, because look at how much it's permeated everything we do, how much everyone's talking about it, but only like 20% might be using it.
Yeah, I'm very pro AI. I'll just say that right out of the gate. But I will say this, and I think there's a doom and gloom side of AI. I think you can get in your head and you can start thinking about, oh gosh, is it going to take my job? Is it going to replace me? Like, am I going to be needed anymore? And I think those are people who walk around with a victim mentality on their forehead, personally. I think if you want to be a victor, you need to look at the opportunity ahead and say, wow, if I could capitalize on this incredible trend, this incredible technology that is coming whether we like it or not, it is advancing at a rate that is unfathomable, right? I don't know. The opportunist in me is like, why aren't you trying to learn it?
And I think you did not watch enough movies as a millennial child to understand the dangers of AI.
No, I mean, you can
No,
choose
that's just robots.
You can choose fear, or you can choose hope, I think, in many ways. And I'm like, okay, well, if this is coming no matter what, then that's just fact. So it's not a choice.
And I think that's already a decision that's been made.
Yes.
That's already done.
The choice
It's
is
coming.
not, is
It's
AI
here.
coming? The choice is, are you going to harness it? Are you going to use this as an opportunity to maybe advance your skill, ability, whatever?
Yeah.
And something that came to mind a couple of days ago is, I was listening to a podcast and they referenced something, they said something that really stood out. They were talking about the traits that are must-haves for successful people, right? So they were talking about the Steve Jobs. They were talking about the Elon Musks. They were talking about the Jeff Bezos, but even more than that, right? They were thinking about the Johnny Ives, right? Phenomenal artist, designer of the iPhone. They were talking about some of the world's greatest people in their craft, and they were saying that they have to essentially have two characteristics. Number one, they have to have a clear vision of what excellence looks like. Their benchmark for quality has to be so high, right? We've talked about the book Unreasonable Hospitality. Someone said in a meetup the other day, like, yeah, Luke, I think you've mentioned this book like 4 or 5 times, so I'll just use this.
Because it's an excellent book.
I'll use this as another vehicle to mention Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidara. But, he talked about sitting at that dinner where they were announcing the top 50 restaurants in the world, and he realized, wow, everyone in this room is perfect at what they do.
Yeah.
That's not the differentiator anymore. And so I think, you talk about people who are at the top of their craft, they have to have great taste. They have to know what quality is. They have to be able to very articulately describe with incredible detail what the expectation is going to be.
Yeah. Why something misses the mark, why it nailed it, what makes it good.
Exactly. Disney, right? Put him in that. Like he had to just have such clarity of vision of where he was going. So I think that was characteristic one, was like your ability to see quality and have good taste. And trait number 2 was you have to have the skill set in order to execute on that taste. Now, I would go as far to say you've either got to be able to lead with that sort of level of clarity, or you've got to be able to surround yourself with creativity and technical skill on your team that can execute at that level.
And I just want to throw this out there because I feel like it's important as someone who has had the victim mentality a lot, maybe not just about AI. I used to think that was something you had to be born with. Oh, I don't have that. Or, oh, look at these people around me are so in tune with what's excellent. I could never be at that level, the comparison game.
Yeah.
It is not something you have to be born with. It is something you can cultivate, you can grow in, you can learn what excellence is, how to articulate that, what to look for.
You've got to care more about growth than you do execution.
You have to be so open-minded and humble in that journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you have to know, and you have to be obsessed with how can I improve where I'm at. I know when I first started speaking, I would go back and listen to every single talk I ever gave. Because I wanted to be so critical of how could I improve, how could I be better, and I would then like listen to the Louis Giglios or the Andy Stanleys or the, pick your poison of favorite brilliant communicator, Francis Chan, whatever, and I'd go, what are things that they've done that I could maybe steal 1 or 2 nuggets? And so you have to be a student, right? And so you have to be willing. Again, that's training what quality looks like in your life. And so anyway. But here's where they went with, which I think is where we could go with this conversation. So if that is true, which I'm just going to kind of take that as true, then what they basically were saying is AI is actually taking the second one off the table. That to be successful in the next era, right? I mean, in the last 5 years, AI has just multiplied. What's it going to look like in the next 5 years is kind of crazy to process. But AI is becoming to a point where it can do any of your tasks for you. But it doesn't replace the desire for quality. It doesn't replace your benchmark. It doesn't replace your eye for excellence.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, I was so encouraged when they said this because I'm thinking about all of us in the SALT community. I'm thinking about those who are creatives, who are technicians, who are dreamers, storytellers, who are leaders of creativity in their church. I'm like, our superpower is even stronger now. Right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I have never been a designer. Like I've never learned Photoshop. I've dabbled and I thought I want to grow up to be better at this. True story. I have tried to learn to be a better designer. The skill set I have always lacked on. The tools were always updating and changing. I couldn't keep up with the tools, but I learned to hone a little bit more my eye of the craft. I don't think I'm excellent yet, but I have tried to learn, all right, what makes a good design? What are the elements? What's the look, the color, the feel? What are some of the rules that are out there, studying this craft of good and excellent design. And then I think it was the first time I was in Canva, I realized there's AI tools that can help me because I don't know how to actually use the tools to design. I just kind of know, oh yeah, this is wrong, but how do I myself go change it? And I couldn't figure that part out.
The art of a good prompt, right?
The art of a good prompt. And luckily I'm a bit of a writer, so I got to use my skill in that way. But I was in Canva dabbling and I figured out, oh, AI will kind of build this out for me a little bit. Oh, if I write it just right and tell it what I want, and I can articulate well enough, like you're saying, you have to be able to articulate what excellence looks like. It did it for me.
Yeah.
And it was my first kind of introduction to how that second piece
because you don't need to know the
tool.
tool. You just need to know how do I tell it what I want it to look like. And I'll never forget when I learned the key to, in a great prompt, you have to not just give it context. You can't just say, I need a bulletin made for our youth ministry. You need to say, I need it to have X, Y, Z. I need it to this. But I'll never forget when I start giving context or I start saying, and I don't want it to be X, Y, Z. Like if you really start giving it boundaries and give it clarity, it's hyper focused on being able to get you there. And I'm sure you've seen that in Canva.
Definitely.
I mean, I've seen the same thing in Photoshop. Now, I don't think Photoshop's tool, I'm a Photoshop guy. So I don't think that Photoshop's tool is probably as robust as Canva's. I don't know.
There's been debate that Canva might have the better AI capabilities. Now,
Interesting.
I've had Photoshop beta for
Uh-huh.
AI for a while. I have not dabbled because I don't know enough, but
It has gotten
I
better.
want people to take it to a test, go toe to toe. A lot of people are like, oh, if you use Adobe, you're way above Canva. I think that line has been blurred so much.
I think Adobe needs to watch out because I do
Yeah.
think, to your point, like if you can articulate well through a prompt, through an AI tool, as we get into agent world and all that sort of stuff with AI, I think ultimately we're going to be in the next couple of years at a place where AI can use essentially any tool for you, and it's going to know it better, faster, stronger, better. You know, is that Kanye? Or
Better, faster,
better, faster, stronger. Anyway,
yeah. Luke's musical capabilities, everybody. I just want you to know that.
I'll be here all day. But I think there's something powerful as long as you can articulate that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to know the tool. So anyway,
Yep.
I know, going back to ChatGPT and the prompts and what I learned in just the context of once I learned how to prompt, it was so much more effective for me, was because I was using it as my assistant. I knew exactly where I wanted to go. I just needed you to help me get there.
Yeah.
And I may not have known entirely the end result, but I knew the direction I wanted to head.
It's the idea of if you state your problem clearly enough
Yes.
and you write it out and define it to the nth degree, you almost know your solution.
I'll never forget a friend of mine asked, if you were struggling with a problem, would you go to a friend and ask advice and take it? Maybe, right? You
Yeah.
well, it depends on what the background is of that friend. Well, what if you went to a panel of 100 experts? Would you take their advice?
You would think so.
Well, and he said, well, AI is essentially like 10,000 plus experts, all in one answer, essentially. And so not that I'm trying to give total credibility and truth to AI, because I think as a church, we need to be careful that we don't, go to AI as our truth.
Yes.
I think there's a theological,
It's a huge
risk
discussion.
there. And I know there's organizations like Glue AI that have taken OpenAI's sort of ecosystem and essentially put scripture and commentary and theological, strength and adeptness and purity into that, so that it's like the filter that runs everything through. So I know there's tools coming here, but man, I just think about like AI and how it's helped me. Yeah, I don't know if you've used these like projects, and you use chat. You've talked about this before.
I've used ChatGPT.
And you can go into the project
extensively,
and say, okay, for this, I'm going to put my production hat on, or I'm going to put my social media hat on. So I want you to act like the world's most brilliant social media strategist, right? And I think it's interesting because you can give it just enough context at the project level that you don't have to type this in every time. And if you use projects well, I think for people like us who our job naturally has 4, 5, 6, 7 hats. I don't know. Someone's like, oh, I got 20 hats, Luke. But if you got 2 or 3, use projects in that and take enough time to give it the context you want, so that everything within that project is around that topic or that mindset or that strategy.
Yeah, and we could deep dive into the practical ways to use AI, and I'm sure at some point we will. And if not, we have a masterclass at conference that will.
There is, yeah.
But we have talked about, using AI like an intern. You don't have an intern just there to post to your social media. Usually that person's doing a few other things too. It's the same idea. It can do that grunt work. It can help you write those quick emails for you then to go refine and polish. There's just so much that it can do. And, now these integrations are coming that it can integrate with the actual productivity apps that you use and make it your intern.
100%. You're not going to ask an intern, go build out my capital campaign, write all the emails, build the website, which AI could do all this stuff, do the graphics, put together the 7-week social media strategy behind this capital campaign, and then launch it.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to tell your intern, go do all that without any oversight. And I think that's my fear with AI is AI is not another staff member on your team. It is the assistant to help you. It's really, I actually worry that, there's a lot of talk in the entrepreneur space, which I'm in, and there's a lot of talk about like virtual assistants and how powerful they can be. I actually wonder, are we getting to a place where AI is going to replace a virtual assistant?
I think a lot of people are wondering that, but I think it goes back to, well, how well are you prompting? If people don't know how to prompt well, it's not going to be that useful to them.
Yeah, exactly.
And also
going back, if you
oversight.
Can't articulate, if you don't have great vision, if you don't have great quality, if you don't have a great benchmark of excellence, you're not going to be the successful person.
Yeah.
So I think if there's anything I want to encourage our community, if in the next 3 to 5 years, there's anything you really double down on, and double down on your benchmark of excellence, double down on your taste, double down on what looks good, become a student of why was that campaign so successful?
Yeah.
Why did the Oreo thing in the Super Bowl a couple years ago resonates so well.
Yeah.
Become a student of these things so that you can go, how do we learn from that?
And don't silo yourself. Something I've learned from AI is the context piece. It is so helpful when you can tell ChatGPT or Claude or, I almost said Groku.
Grok.
Thank you.
Gemini. Yeah.
Like from Lord of the Rings, Grog. When you can tell it and give it the context of think like this expert.
Yeah.
Or look at this celebrity and use them as your framework for answering this question or solving this problem. That context is what helps it actually give you legitimate answers and responses to things. Same thing as you might do with an intern of look at this example before you just go try this on your own.
So it's interesting you mentioned,
idea.
I may have said this before on the podcast, but I've used ChatGPT to build coloring sheets for my kids, my girls. They're huge into Moana. And I've gone into chat and said, build me a coloring sheet of Moana, and they're also into learning how to swim and unicorns, riding a unicorn in a pool, right? So maybe
all those interests right there in a coloring book.
And yet it's funny because going back to the intern thing, ChatGPT will go, well, Moana is a copyrighted image. I cannot use that. And I'm like, oh, well, good for you for being, this ethical thing.
They have standards too.
But it's true, right? You can't push your intern to go do something unethical. So instead it'll say, would you like a Indonesian inspired, young woman? I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for. So again, it's almost helped me prompt a little bit better to go, how do I describe what I'm looking for? Because I don't really care if it's Moana, and my girls that are young don't care either that it's Moana.
They want it to look like Moana.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm prompting it well. You just mentioned though, Claude, because what's funny is when we started this podcast earlier in the season, you talked about 2
episodes ago. No, maybe more than that.
Yeah,
now,
you talked about how you're a ChatGPT girl.
I was.
And you used it to hire with Andrew Johnson's episode. But you just made a switch.
I did. So a year ago, we started building a website, and it was recommended to me, try Claude AI, spelled CLAUDE for reference.
We did not build our website with Claude.
We did not.
Katelyn did not.
Sorry. Let me be more clear. They're like, we love it for project management. And the girl who recommended it was like, actually, it's a great writing tool. It's kind of known for writing. It's kind of its forte. And I was like, yeah, great, sure, I'll try it. And I was trying it out. I liked it. But then everyone else was kind of talking more about ChatGPT and what they could do with it. And I thought, oh, let me go do ChatGPT. And this goes back to don't silo yourself, but also learn what excellence is.
Yeah.
It was the way people were using ChatGPT that made it sound so much better. I just hadn't learned the way to use AI yet. And so I hadn't been using it that way with Claude. Turns out I could be using it as effectively one place or another. But with Claude, I have to say, there's a girl on TikTok that talks about Claude, and she's like, it's for the girlies, it's got the vibe, and that's her language for it. But the layout is cleaner to me. It prompts you more significantly and more detailed what kind of prompts and answers it needs to complete the task you're asking it for. It will automatically build out a CSV or a document for your questions. ChatGPT, we have joked about this. I think you're on camera multiple times saying, oh, yeah, it's ChatGPT. It'll say at the end, do you want me to make this into a PDF? Claude just automatically has it right there for you to download. Yeah. And then you make changes or tweaks, it automatically has a new
You've talked about the power of being able to import that into Asana.
Yes. I build out entire project boards from conversations with Claude that it builds out a spreadsheet and automatically puts it into Asana for me.
I love it.
Yeah. Now, there is this new thing called Claude Cowork.
Yes.
I have not tried that out yet.
I've wanted to. It's not cheap.
Yeah.
So it's like $100, $200 a month. But yeah, I mean, essentially what they've done, and fun story behind it, it actually was built by Claude. So it was a project to show that you could custom develop tools and apps and software. Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking who in this podcast or who in our community needs to write a software to shortcut some projects, whether it's a request form for ministries to have a project, it's a project management thing, it's a client dashboard for
as many hats as you guys wear. There's definitely things you could be more efficient on using AI.
Yeah. But Claude Cowork essentially is a tool that lives on your desktop, and it can essentially emulate any mouse click keyboard movement on your desktop. And that, though, again, you can be scared by what I'm saying. You can be like, that's crazy that we're going there. But I think, Elon Musk has said that within 12 months of now, we'll be in an era where AI can essentially do anything that a human can do on a computer. And that's where I think there's certain people who get fearful and they're like, oh gosh, that scares me. Like I'm going to get replaced. And I'm going to go, remember what I said earlier. Our community has a superpower, and that is we have the ability to define what creativity is, define what excellence is. And if you work on your skill of improving what looks good or what your benchmark for excellence is, AI at least as of right now, can't outperform you. It may get there, but you've at least got a leg up if you can leverage these tools to execute the way you need to.
Yeah, and I'm going to get a little more into detail here. One reason I like Claude too is because it's owned by Anthropic, and the two CEOs is a brother-sister duo. They came from OpenAI, but they said, we want things to be constitutional in this AI system. And I'm like, I love that. They're putting those boundaries in place already. It's a hot topic. I mean, this whole episode is a hot topic. It's a hot topic of what are the boundaries, what's constitutionally okay. People are getting in trouble for things already with how their platforms are processing information and whatnot. So for me, I'm like, all right, I am a little nervous about what AI will become and what it will do. And that made me feel a little bit more secure. And
I think it's also important to realize that, like, especially for us in the church, I'm just going to say this boldly. I've never tested this theory in front of anybody, so I may get emails, but Claude is not going to lead people to Christ.
No.
And they're not going to create community, and we're not going to create opportunities where, as Proverbs talks, iron sharpens irons, where we can come together as community and grow in our relationship with Christ. And so as much as it may replace the vocational side of our job, to go back to sort of the beginning, like our ultimate purpose is to use our creativity that God gave us to help encourage people to grow closer to Christ, or to get them to a place where they have an encounter with Jesus. And I just think there's so much hope in that for us.
It's a medium and a tool, just like Instagram was, just like TikTok. People hated the idea of TikTok. Great. It's a ministry field now.
So as you're spending more and more time with AI, as you're spending moments to try and refine AI and use it to sort of shortcut and allow you to get stuff done faster, better, stronger, whatever that's twice now.
Can we please play the Kanye song at the end of these credits?
On a serious note, though, what I would say is spend time with the Lord, deepen that relationship, because you can't shortcut that. You can't AI your way to spiritual depth so that you're ready to minister to people. I actually think one of the powerful opportunities that's before us for the church is if the AI sort of boom could help us in the tool standpoint shortcut our doing so that we could be more, so that we could be present more. Now, and you and I have talked about this. What does ChatGPT say at the end of every prompt? Would you like me to do something, right? So would you like me to turn this into a PDF? Would you like to flush this out into a more, just be careful that doing is not always the next step from AI, that you actually have a chance to just pause and be. And I hope that AI shortcuts so that you can actually be present more, not just do more and become more addicted to efficiency and go. So.
Yeah. Nothing is more satisfying than being in a project on AI and saying, actually, I figured it out. Thank you.
Yeah.
It says, okay, I'm here if you need me.
Yeah.
No future prompt. But yeah, definitely.
All right. You mentioned the masterclass. Do you want to tease that a little bit?
I will. Kenny Jang is coming to SALT 2026 to teach a masterclass. We call these our 4-hour intensives, where we deep dive into a topic that you can just hopefully not only learn about, but also get a little hands-on experience on.
100%. And ask questions and refine your prompts and understand some of the coolest tools. I mean, Kenny is just an expert on this stuff.
Yeah.
So super grateful that we have him coming back.
Yes. Go to salt2026.com. Link is also in our show notes.
Tickets are out.
Tickets are out. Tickets have sold out. We've sold out the entire conference before. We've sold out certain masterclasses
2026 has not sold out yet. We can say that, right?
It has not yet.
Okay.
No, tickets were just released a couple of weeks ago.
Katelyn just said.
But I just want to say we recommend buying sooner rather than later.
Yep. Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas. Irving Bible, October 14th through 16th. Go check it out online. We hope to see you there because it's going to be amazing. And then we can talk a little bit about how you feel about AI as well.
All right. I think that's a wrap.